The Crypto Markets Update is presented by Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager. All right, checking in on Bitcoin. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XVX index currently trading at $56,167. Bitcoin is down about 1.75% over the past 24 hours. The CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is at $4,213. ETH slightly rising about 0.9%. And the DFX CoinDesk DeFi index right now is at 554 points, down about 2.5%. Joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is Greg King, founder and CEO of crypto investment firm Osprey Funds. Hello there, Greg. Great to have you here. So, taking a look at the mixed background we're seeing in the crypto markets right now, what's your outlook? And are the markets potentially just taking a break heading into the holidays?
Yeah, I think so. So you're starting to see kind of the year-end churn with.
I think you're on mute, Greg.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, no, you're good.
And I'm not on mute. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think you're starting to see the year-end activity. A lot of gains on the books for a lot of people, and people may want to take some of those in this year. But we're of course remain long-term bullish, and just watching the show previous to my coming on with what's happening in El Salvador and with NFTs, et cetera, we just continue to build and try and create access for investors to this exciting marketplace.
So, Greg, how discouraged are the markets right now going into the new year, though? I mean, we're kind of inching lower and lower. Is there a threat that we could be triggering some liquidations in the near future? And would that cause just general malaise, if you will, in Bitcoin if it can't get over, let's say, 55, 60 by December 31st?
I don't know that I could be that specific in terms of a price target. Really, the catalyst for a major move higher would be a breakout beyond previous all-time highs, right, which are in the mid-60s. I think right now it's more of a churn. I wouldn't call it a malaise. I think there's just too many on-ramps being built, especially to Bitcoin at an institutional level. But then, crypto generally extends so much beyond the selling points of Bitcoin and an alternative to gold with what's happening with Web 3.0, the metaverse, which everybody's all over, et cetera. So I just see far too much momentum pushing into the sector for any significant drawdown that's extended. It seems to me, on an anecdotal basis, that people are buying the dip a lot more than they used to in crypto because there are large pools of assets on the sidelines waiting to get in at good prices. And so I think the movements are a little more muted, although if you're used to kind of the stock market, it still seems pretty active, pretty volatile, but more muted than it used to be in the crypto land.
One of the interesting things I've observed over the past few weeks is that, if you look at the price charts, the alts in Bitcoin have been largely moving in tandem, right? I mean, you see like either a sea of green or a sea of red. Is there anything particularly notable in the altcoin market that is like defying these larger trends? Because there seems to be a pretty high degree of correlation just across the market. Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. Bitcoin goes down, other coins go down. Are there any altcoins that you see as sort of defying that trend, or just like interesting things in the altcoin market that people should be aware of?
Yeah, I think it's easy to look at the screens, on a given day and kind of, like you say, see the sea of red or the sea of green. But over time is where you get that differentiation. We all know that, for example, Ethereum's outperformed Bitcoin quite a bit recently. And to me, that's part of, the projects that are being built on Ethereum, the huge NFT move, DeFi, et cetera. So I think that investors should look to some of those new technologies and applications that are disintermediating, old school traditional finance, and get invested in those movements. And you may not see it on a day-to-day basis. That's why we tend to look mid to longer term, because when there's a macro bit of news, people tend to kind of sell at the margins across the board. But it's really over time that those trends emerge.
Greg, so 2021 was certainly the year of NFTs. It's the highest performing subsector in the crypto industry, and you're doubling down with a NFT fund, I hear, correct?
We are. So the NFT space is very exciting. You know, what's interesting to me is this is digital art, and I see parallels between kind of digital gold and the discussion we've all been having around Bitcoin for years, and digital art versus, you know, traditional art. So what's happening with NFTs, I think, is here to stay. It remains to be seen exactly how that the movement continues, because you have so many different possibilities there in terms of whether it's art or something to do with music,
so how do you,
or just celebrity.
Decipher between everything that's out there and pick the winner, if you will?
You have to know what you're doing, and so you may have seen the recent announcement that we've hired a portfolio manager who's been deep in the space for a while, and we're launching our first NFT fund early next year. But you know, our products are other products are beta solutions, right? And when you're thinking about investing, people talk about beta and alpha. Beta is just being long the market, you know, index funds, a passive buy and hold strategy. And that's a great way to get access and get exposure to an asset class. But the times of outperformance have been demonstrated historically to be in markets where there's asymmetric information. And so we think NFTs is the perfect place to launch our first alpha strategies fund, where we're actually looking to intelligently pick the best NFTs and deliver results for investors, not just a buy and hold strategy.
Can you give us some
like
pointers, Greg?
What,
give me something here, some tips.
Well, look, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you two things. Number one, if people are interested, they can go to our website and send us an email, and we'll get in touch with them. But I'll tell you another thing. You know, you definitely have to be careful in the NFT space. You can't just buy blindly. This is an art market, and art is driven by a number of qualitative aspects. Obviously, there are no discounted cash flows to work with, but we're kind of getting used to that with crypto. So art is driven by scarcity, by culture, etc. And there is a blue chip art market that's emerging in NFTs. So we're going to focus most of the fund's efforts in that direction. It's a somewhat conservative way to approach the space. We are going to take some views on emerging NFTs, though, that maybe haven't established themselves as much as, say, CryptoPunks. But I really do feel like this is an area where investors can use a skilled expert to guide them along, because there are just so many NFTs, and it's proliferating, that we felt, and we kept hearing this from investors, really, this is a response to our client base, that they could use access to the market. They just have no way of figuring it out. There's just too much information out there.